Welcome to the Lightworker podcast. I am your host, Natalie Ubel-Grant. I am a lightworker, a meditation facilitator, Reiki master, and a health and wellness enthusiast who thrives on helping people. Connection is my superpower, and I just love bringing people to a space where transformation can occur. Are you looking for information on being a lightworker? Are you a lightworker and just love collecting knowledge from other lightworkers? Then this space is made especially for you. I hope you enjoy today's episode.
Say it again, please, Becky.
What did I say? In the moment, do I want to rage against it a bit more, or am I ready to actually do something to make myself feel better? Something like that.
Do I need to feel it? Do I need to get angry? Do I need to be sad? Do I need to be grieving? Whatever it is. Or
it's okay.
Am I ready to make myself feel better?
But I'm aware that I don't want to stay there because that feels horrible.
Sometimes you want to stay in it, though.
Yeah,
I agree with that question.
You need it.
Sometimes you like to.
You need it.
No, I know. I'm going to shift this bench before the moment. I need to stay in this. And I'm just going to marinate, and I need to lose my shit a bit more and bash a few things, and then I'll come out of it.
And maybe that's what all of us need, because I know in the generation I grew up in, you
have to suppress your feelings. You weren't allowed to have a feeling.
Not worthy of giving tears to. That's not, get over it.
Judgy.
Exactly. You suppress.
Whole freaking time.
If you're angry, so don't just calm down.
Yeah. That's it. And you're not allowed to feel those feelings, whereas, okay, I give you permission to feel.
Yeah, I get excited now if I'm angry.
You'll get sick.
I know I'm making progress. I'm not sad anymore. I'm not depressed or hopeless. If I'm angry, I'm like, yes, we're almost there.
I think the turning point is...
That's the turning point.
I know I'm feeling whatever right now. I recognise I'm feeling whatever right now. I don't want to stay here, but right now I just need to feel it.
Yeah. And
give myself permission.
And would it be true to say that when you are at that point where you have got anger about whatever it is, doesn't matter what it is, that's when you're just about ready to honour yourself in the moment instead of putting everyone else first?
Yeah.
To actually...
We're kind of teaching my grandsons who are 5 and nearly 4 that when they get their emotions, they say, okay, you're angry. Okay, why are you angry? Let's talk about it. We don't say, you shouldn't be angry. You should, it's okay, you're angry. What are you angry about? Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
And I think if we can teach the young ones that as they're growing up, it's going to make a big impact. Or you're not in trouble for being angry. You're not in trouble for crying because they're boys.
Yeah. Oh, girls get angry too.
Yeah.
But it's just even showing them a path of how to regulate yourself. So it's like, because, historically I was hit.
Yeah.
So you weren't allowed to be angry or sad. Somewhere Mum's hand would come out of nowhere and it'd end up across my face.
Yeah.
And you'd be so stunned that you'd go mute into freeze, right? And it's not her fault. And it's not like, she didn't know how to deal with it either because she was never taught. So then with my kids, I fucked up too, right? So I did better than the previous generation in that I didn't hit my kids. I did tell them when it was happening, you're obviously angry, you need to calm down. The one thing that I would have liked to have known more about then that I know now is instead of isolating them to go and have their feelings on their own, to spend the time with them while they're having that feeling.
Co-regulate.
Do you know?
Yeah.
But I didn't know that because nobody taught me either. Yeah. But then I've been able to do that with them as teens now.
Yeah.
And because, though, of their training, they actually need that time on their own first to process. But then they come and talk about it later.
Yeah.
So it's better than what it was, but it's still not quite there to be able to give them the path of this is what's happening, this is how you're feeling. When you're feeling that, what is it that you actually need, and how can we word this so that you're able to express yourself in a way that people can hear the need?
I think
because
in the moment
People
they
don't
might not
listen.
be ready to discuss. They might, at age 4 or 5, you don't have words. You just know I'm angry. Okay, what do you want to do with the anger? I want to hit something. Okay.
Yeah.
Hit this.
Yeah.
You're allowed to hit this.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to hit your brother, but you can hit this.
Exactly.
Give them permission to do something that gets that crazy out.
Exactly.
Because I find specifically words, when Jackson, he's 8, but he's always been like this, words make it worse.
Yes. You're asking me to.
Any kind of word coming from me triggers it further, and so I just have to be there and hold a boundary so he doesn't take it out on me.
Yes.
Because the anger is present, and he's allowed to be angry, but his automatic is to take it out on others.
Yeah.
And for the last 2.5, 3 years, I've been teaching him not to take his mood out on me.
Amazing.
Which is something he's learned from his father.
Yeah. But he also learned that from his dad, and then he learned that from his dad.
It's ancestral.
And we can't change these patterns until there is someone who's willing to try something different. And we might not get it right, but at least we're doing something different than the pattern used to be, so that then we can have something to test and measure against and go, well, that worked. Oh, that really didn't work. Let's see what else we can change. Rather than just going, which I hear a lot of people say, is, oh, well, that's just how it is. Boys will be boys, or girls will be girls, or, it's really interesting. But why? Why do we have to keep doing things the way they were done if we know they didn't work?
And it doesn't feel good. Why would we want to continue if
why would you want to inflict someone with what you hated when you were a kid?
Exactly. We've always done it this way.
Yeah. But then there is the mindset too, well, I turned out all right.
Did
that happens a lot.
I want to ask, did you though?
Did we have we've done a lot of healing?
I'm about $100,000 deep in therapy and self-development work, so I'd say no. I'd like that $100,000 back.
It's interesting, right? Because that is what some of the mindset is, that they love the life that they have been able to create for themselves because of their previous experience. So some people are viewing it from a position of where it was a problem for them, and other people are viewing it from the position it was empowering for them. And so that's why we can't, at the baseline here, we can't say what's true for one person could be true for someone else. And so that part of it to me is the obvious beginning, is we first have to stop assuming that everyone's experience is the same as ours. And we have to figure out how to have conversations where we're willing to hear each other to kind of get a grasp on how you are looking at your reality. And then hope that we can ask, would you be willing to hear how I see the reality that we're in? To me, that is where we've got to kind of start.
So is there something on a foundation level at Reiki 1 that we can do differently or say differently, or is there another something at that level?
I don't think so, because in order for anyone to learn, they have to have their own lived experience. So it's almost like I can tell you what I witnessed in teaching the entire circuit from level 1 all the way to teacher training. What I witnessed is that there is a path that people go through. And that path is that they get introduced to working with energy, and it actually doesn't matter if they've already trained in different modalities or not. When they come and learn level 1 the way that I teach it, it usually stumps them where they're at. They'll sit there and they'll be, because they've been seeing their reality from one perspective, and I'm offering them a slightly different perspective, and I'm giving them some structure to see the reality in. So I'm giving them 3 pillars: ground, connect, protect, put yourself in the now moment. Practice doing that daily. That's your 2 minutes I'm asking you to do for 21 days. If you do nothing else, just then monitor at the end of that month whether anything's changed in your life. Just do that. Most people don't do it because they don't actually understand that that's training the brain. Helping you figure out what does it feel like to be you when you wake up in the morning, before you go to bed, just while you're walking around, to actually monitor your reality, to just go, I'm here. in the now breathing. Because I know when I learned level 1, if someone had said to me, sit down for 45 minutes and meditate
every day for 21 days,
I'm sorry, that's just not going to happen. Like, it definitely didn't. But it activated curiosity that I could give it 2 or 5 minutes, and that I noticed through testing and measuring that if I didn't do it, I had a worse day than the days that I did do it. And I couldn't work out at the time why that was true, because I hadn't had this learning journey. Then they come along after they've done that and they've kind of figured out, yes, I can geolocate myself, I'm angry or whatever, right? Then they come back and they learn level 2. And then we start getting them to pay attention to the mind, which we talk about, entities and ghosts and discerning the energy in spaces and checking whether the thoughts are even yours and giving you a testing and measuring tool, and then getting you to go home and practice clearing the energy of your house, because we want you to start paying attention to energy other than you. When you're in someone else's experience, do you feel the same as you felt when you were doing Gusso this morning, or has it changed? Because you won't know until you start checking. So then when they do that, for some people, a light bulb goes off and then they go into practitioner mode and they start seeing clients, and then they really get into it and practice, right? And then sometimes they don't bother because they think they know everything. They don't bother coming to level 3. So they just get caught in doing healing for people, right? And they fix you when you come to them as practitioners. And there's a ton of spiritual practitioners that will fix you, right? And it works to a point until it doesn't. And it's not working because it's time to come back and learn level 3. And learn that actually the ethics of Reiki is that you're not supposed to be doing things for other people. You have to let them do for themselves. So then turn the torch back on yourself and start mastering yourself. Why do you think you need to fix them? And you start working on your own triggers. And then when you work on those own triggers and realize that these teachers, which is the 4th principle of Reiki, these teachers are showing up in your life, which are in the form of your husband, your kids, your clients, your students, whatever. They're all teaching you. You've still got triggers. And then in that discovery process of also testing and measuring, you're finding out, oh, I've got an ancestral pattern here. Oh, this is coming from past life. Oh, that's actually an entity I picked up at the grocery store. Right? Oh, and that's Auntie Sue that needs to be crossed over, that's been hanging around, with my kids for the last 10 years that they've been talking to them. And I actually need to do something here, because I wake up in the morning and I go down the end of the hallway and I don't feel like myself again. And you start figuring stuff out. And yes, you're still living in kind of a story about it, right? But we need to out the mind. And the only way to do that is to live in it for a while. And play with it. Use it as something to find an edge with, yeah? And you go and do that for a while, and then you learn that you need to just hold space a bit differently and ask your client a few more questions and, maybe do an auric cleanse and just observe what is, rather than trying to actually fix them and remove entities and open chakras and all the rest of it. Does that make sense? Then you get to a point where then some people don't come back because they think they've got it all now, right? And they understand what, we're trying to teach them, because they are good at what they do and they've got enough feedback from their clients that they're getting results. So they think, yep, I don't need to be a teacher. So I never see them again, right? Until they themselves in their personal life start having a lot of fuck-ups. And the universe keeps giving them some tools, teachers that are trying to get them to look at, you need to actually go even deeper here. It's time to really honour the ethics. And although you've been really good at doing things and letting your client do things and letting your kids do things and your husband do things, there's still this other thing that you're really not quite getting, because you're not honouring yourself here. You're still putting yourself last. And why are you doing that? Well, come back and learn teacher training, and then we'll show you the final product of you connecting to source energy. of actually properly understanding what it means to walk in a body connected to source. But you've got to heal the body to do it, because you didn't realise you've been operating in the mind for the last 3 levels. You haven't been embodied at all, but you had to go on that journey of testing and measuring and checking and having these situations happen to come back and realise I actually really need to work with my body, and I need to do some sessions like past life retrieval and emotional liberation and breath work and whatever else you need to do, kinesiology, shaman journeys, whatever you've got to do that's actually going to get you to get connected to talking to your body, because you're living in this temple and you forgot all about it because you're too busy fixing everyone else's.
It's easier to look out and look in.
Right, but you need to go on that journey, right? So then when you start looking at your own body, what do I need? I start eating differently. I start actually doing my meditations. I start paying attention and doing some retrieval work when I'm feeling feelings. And I start getting insights about myself and how I'm actually putting myself last. And then you realise that you're fucking everyone else's journey up every time you put yourself last. So you've been taught that you're doing a good thing to help someone else. Yeah. And we've got to rewire this thing. So I only see people at teacher training really, really get it, which you guys know, right? You know what I'm talking about. And there's just something that happens in your brain that is, you just all of a sudden, it's like you get to the final part of the video game and you finally get all the tokens and then your whole body relaxes. So it's not that your brain knows it, it's your body knows it too. It's like this embodiment thing that happens, and you actually, there's not really words for it. I've listened to you guys try and explain it. I've listened to the last one that got her certificate with Catherine. I've listened to how she tried to explain it, and it's just unexplainable, really.
I don't think it really embodied the whole thing for me until teacher. Like once I hit masters, I really the practices became like brushing your teeth. It wasn't hard to do. I knew that I had to do it.
Yeah.
I couldn't go through. It was like if I haven't brushed my teeth, I feel yuck. It was a non-nego. It just became like an extension of me.
Yeah.
But then teacher did embody all of that as one. You know what I mean?
And like we're all still works in progress. So you get to teacher level, right? You've got your whole circle. But now the learning happens when you've got a student in front of you, right? Because you know all this stuff now. Now you actually need to go out and share it so that you can figure out how to articulate and share with other people what you've learned. So, and that's the bit that gets me. It's a bit like martial arts. Like you get your black belt and you're some freaking master. Bull, you are not. You're just back at the bottom again. Yeah, because your body can do it on autopilot now. But how can you break that down so that you can show a brand new Reiki level 1 person Gusso and the 5 pillars, the 5 principles, and so that they understand why that's so important. And it's not till my teachers come back and sit in a level 1 class, which I make you all do, till they sit there and go, oh my God, this is all anyone needs.
That's why I come back every year and do one again, because you just need that little reminder of the basics.
Yeah. It's interesting, but I'm starting to learn that with doing the martial arts and listening to my teacher who's very steeped in Buddhism, right? They've got a similar path that they take people through. Different pillars and principles, but they're very similar, Similar in a sense that they'll give you just enough information to go and play with it and then come back and have a chat with them about what you think you have understood about that. And then they'll give you a little bit more, Same kind of thing, because if we as people that have done the process try and share with someone who's in level 1 what you know from a master level, you just scramble their brain.
How do you then, because like you're saying, okay, with the martial arts, and it's the same with the Reiki one, is that you give them a little bit, they go away, ruminate, whatever, do the practices. We're assuming we're doing the practices, and then we come back and, okay, is there some way of ensuring that they're doing the practices and not just going, okay, I've done Reiki 1, now I do Reiki 2. There's no
That's
way.
why I inboarded case studies in level 3 and teacher training.
Yeah.
Because when in our lineage, I'm the first person that asked you for that. Yeah. Because of this. So because that's what I was seeing.
Can you sort of ask on the case studies, but for yourself in Reiki 1?
Okay. Maybe.
Have you done the 21 days of 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Actually.
And then got a printout that can track that. But it's for children.
Oh. Well, maybe we need an adult one too.
Catherine, we're all children.
Maybe that's...
It's like a 2 and a 1, and you have to colour in these.
Yeah, because like Nat was just saying that, you get to your black belt and, you could do the foundations with your eyes closed. Now you are ready to fully experience things. That's kind of
some
like
people
how
like
to
to tick
reach the level.
things off. Like that would help me.
Yeah.
Like, I
like,
well,
like lift.
Yep, I've done that. But then you can also show, well, there's a big gap there.
See, this is helpful for me, right? What do we need? I need to know this stuff because that's what I got to create,
But I was just saying to Catherine that if they then have got some dots missing, okay, what happened there? Oh, life got busy, or I got sick, or I got this, or whatever. But, okay, how did you feel right then when you missed all those days? Okay, maybe next time when life's feeling chaotic, maybe we still do.
Is it kind of like a 21-day journal, Reiki journal or something, where you say you tick that you did it, or like I didn't do it. How did I feel that day?
Yeah.
But I guess
I like the idea of that.
Like
I need
you're
that.
actually observing.
I'm going to make that.
Yeah. I think that's
21-day Reiki journal.
Holding them accountable. Okay, you paid this money to do this course. This is part of the course.
Yeah.
So when you come for Reiki 2, you have to bring that.
Yeah. And yes, and okay, there's no
bad idea.
And I guess that's where a lot of people might find it hard.
It's not about perfection.
It's not about perfection.
You will get the people who will love ticking and they will decorate it and have a flow chart and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But then there'll also
it's about observing the days that you don't.
Yeah, okay, what happened on those days that you didn't?
Using it as a teaching tool,
that is a good point because, like, if you do you know how the checklist, you have all the checklists of all the things and like level 1 that you do, and before you could, because like I didn't do any of the things up until I got to level 3, and then I had to go backtrack, and I was like, I'd actually done all these things. I was kind of, so when you were talking at the start, you were talking about, how do we teach people? I think I definitely know from my experience, I've really seen we expect the answers to come from outside, and we just expect them to be complicated and more like there's always to be an answer. But the daily practice and coming back to that foundation, which has taken me, maybe 10, 12 years to learn, I was always looking for something outside, and I thought it was more complicated than something outside would solve it. And it was like, no, it's something inside, but you have to be ready for that, and I think you have to make all those mistakes. So you can force someone, like, now I totally get it, like, okay, you've got to go in, I can't just go back to basics, go in, which going back to basics is all about going in, not expecting, and I think most of the world we expect something from outside of ourselves to fix us, and I think we're raised to believe that, someone will answer a question here for us, or we'll get something here and that will solve, and it's like, no, we've got to find it all within, but that journey, and then it gets so much. It feels like the journey goes simple, so complicated, and then it goes back to simple. Yeah.
Nutshell.
Yeah, we
Thank you.
Complicated, and then
crap. But you need to know.
But everyone has to go through that process. Yeah. You can't bypass it.
No.
You have to go through it, and everyone's journey is different.
I mean, I spent Reiki 1 just sitting there thinking, this is absolute coming from a mainstream science background, spent 6 years or 5 days a week studying. When we did one day, I sat there the whole time going, is this bullshit? Like, what are these people fucking on? Sorry, that noise. So, what making one?
I love it.
Like, even me, in my level 2 class, I was exactly like that. I'm like, oh, what a lot of crap, as if there's a portal in that corner.
Find this shit?
That's what I was like, right?
Why did you come back for 2 then?
Why did I come back for 2?
If that's sort of the way you felt. Just why?
Great question.
Why did I come back? I didn't do 2 Nat. No, so the main thing I learned from my first thing was Nat was learning to trust myself, my own intuition. And she encouraged me to do that. And I came to her and I was like, I want to go do Reiki level 2 with Abby. And I was like, that was a huge thing for me. And I did Reiki level 2. And then I was just like, and then she said to me once the master level was about self-mastery. And I was like, that's the shit I want. I don't want any, I don't care about doing heal. For me, it was never about healing anyone else. It was about.
She wanted to jump ahead.
I wanted a foundation tool for understanding.
She wanted the answers now.
And I think I was kind of like weirded out by the fact that everyone else was buying into this. And I was like, what am I missing? And I was like, I had this thing where I was like crazy skeptical, but I'd had all these experiences that pushed me into this. But the mainstream science world so heavily teaches you this is a load of shit. So I was like,
you were living 2 worlds.
I was living 2 worlds. And so there was days where I was having these experiences that were making me, and then I was coming and going, this is bullshit. And that happened for a very long time. Probably until recently. But so that's why I kept going, is because, and I really liked Nat, and I was like watching people around me and I was like, I don't really get it, so I'm just going to keep doing more.
Try and learn more.
I'm like,
You see, there are people out there who go, I don't really get it, and then walk away, whereas you were, I don't really get it, I'm going to keep going.
Yeah, my life was fucking up monumentally, so I needed to do
You can't hurt.
Like everything else I've tried isn't working. Let's just go down this path.
But it does make you realise that it is such an individual journey. It's so individual, and like we're all going to have penny drops at different times. But I think sort of having that accountability, I think for Reiki 1 would be a really good thing, because then if they don't do it, you can go, well, let's have an honest conversation. If they're not ready to have an honest conversation of life got hard or this sucked or whatever, then I don't think you're not going to stop them from doing Reiki 2, but it's an awareness. It's an awareness.
You know me, I love a good talking point.
We've had conversations, and I've seen conversations, and I've observed conversations, and I've gone, I know this person has done this, this, and this, and this, and this. Why are we still having this conversation? Why are we still at this uncomfortable point when you know that they've done all the layers? You know, this is really interesting. What bit did they miss? Or an observation.
It's integration, a lot of it. It's that embodiment piece that's really important.
Watching and observing, and just going, what bit have we missed? For me, it's like, okay, what did we miss? What could we have done differently? What could we have...
see, and I don't bother doing that anymore. That was, a stage and a phase in my teaching journey, of what I learned when I'm teaching and sharing the information, was that I had to, like what you were saying, I had to actually accept that I'm not everybody's teacher.
Absolutely.
And that although I really know my stuff, and I went to the trouble of knowing my stuff by learning from multiple teachers, so that I could feel comfortable knowing what I'm sharing, I also know that I'm not for everyone. And when I try and force myself on people, it only repels them. And so that was interesting to me. So I sat with that and I'm like, okay, so what am I actually really deeply teaching here is autonomy, like sovereignty, like what your connection to source energy actually is, and help you try and find your own way to connect to that. If I keep telling people, this was back when I did the class like I realised it was that the way that I was teaching was actually showing them how I did it. You know, and in the book it's got hand positions and all the rest of it, and I'm like, that's how this teacher did it, this is how I do it, and then they're playing with the energy, and then they're assuming that this is what it should feel like when they're got the hands, two palm chakras facing each other. So when they turned actually onto a body, they're grappling with, well, I'm not feeling anything now,
Yeah.
So I had to change how I was teaching, and I had to actually refine my understanding of what it is to have a channel. What's actually going on? And what am I trying to get you to connect to? It's really interesting, that journey of sort of having to teach it and then work out what it is that you're trying to impart, which for you, I knew when I was having that conversation with you that, because you were, like, your whole body was shaking telling me that you wanted to go and learn level 2
from Abby.
With Abby, right?
Who learned it from that?
I was
Yeah.
I was so frightened to tell you.
Right.
I felt like the worst person in the world. I was shaking when I...
Yeah.
But I think it's so important to learn different modalities.
Agreed, from different teachers.
But same modalities from different teachers.
Yeah.
Too.
And whatever frequency she holds is for you.
Yeah,
that's right.
You need to see it in that moment.
And it was so important for you to hear from me. Great. What a great idea.
I was just like, what's wrong with this woman? She's sending her business elsewhere. I'm like letting her down.
There's no competitiveness.
But it's really interesting, isn't it? Because exactly that situation, that scenario is the world I want to live in. Where we're actually working in alignment, not out of duty. And if someone's gut is telling them, I just cannot sit in another class with that woman who's teaching a bunch of rot.
Yep.
I've also, let you know a secret, I've also had a lot of people do that, and then eventually they roll back around. Which I find interesting. I didn't know that was what was going to happen when I started doing that. But they'd come back, they'd be like, can I have a coffee with you? I've really got some questions. Sure, why don't you come around? Let's have a proper chat about this. And then they just offload of, wow, you really teach Reiki differently to how other practitioners teach it,
I think coming from obviously mainstream university teaching, you get told how to learn something. That was so different about everything that you did. Was I just assumed Reiki, and what I've realised now is Reiki is your own system and your own everything. You can't, and most people I think come into that with that awareness. But I was like, you're going to teach me how to do it. And I was like, no, you're going to learn yourself how I'm going to give you the tools, and you're going to find your own.
Especially for uni students, it does their head in.
That's really hard to accept. You want me to tell you how I feel instead of
because
uni
they write an assignment that goes against what they're being taught,
Yeah.
they fail. So
I also found with some courses that the emphasis was more on the technique and having the referencing over here and the brackets here or the whatever, all those details were more important than the actual content. Like the content is kind of irrelevant, but you've got to set it out in a way that that's our acceptable way. And that always frustrated
You've got to tick the boxes,
Jesus
otherwise
out of me.
it's not a degree.
It irritates me because I'm like, yes, but I've got the knowledge.
But so much of the world is as well, we're going to tell you what you have to do and how you have to act. Don't think don't think for yourself, don't have your own feelings, don't work out what's going on with you. Here's the thing, you've got to go with it. Whereas this just flips on its head. And it's like, she's giving me a choice. I'm so confused.
You mean to say?
And that's sovereignty,
yeah.
And that is your birthright.
Yeah.
Right? And
you choose what's right for you. But we're never allowed to do that because it upsets somebody or you get in trouble or you offend someone and then you feel bad.
And no one ever questioned why we keep doing that to each other.
Yeah.
When it's so harmful, clearly. You see the harm every day.
But I've also noticed that people now go, well, that triggers me, so I need to avoid that. Because that then keeps me calm and regulated. Okay, now I'm thinking, okay, if that triggers me, damn it, okay, got to go into that. There's something there for me to learn, because then if I can learn it, guess what? It's not going to trigger me. But that's a scary thing to do, and I think that's where a lot of our teens are, because a lot of what the world's telling them is, oh, you're triggered, you can get an exemption from that, or you don't need to do that, or that, upsets you.
We'll call it ADHD, and we'll call it, we've got whatever it is, and we've got a label. So now you can, instead of blaming a person, because we used to blame our parents, now we're just going to blame the disease.
Yeah, and I'm not saying
and that. No, there's no.
Definitely,
it's helpful, but
if you can learn how to face your triggers in a safe environment where you feel safe and held, so you've learnt ways to do it, to go, okay, I'm feeling quite upset right now, I'm just going to sit with it, do a little breath, and then I'm going to look at it.
Yeah.
If they can feel safe in, but unfortunately with teenagers, we've kind of got to do it a sneaky way so they don't realise they're learning, and then go, bam, okay.
Yeah, and also too, they're teaching us how to do things differently as well, because some of these patterns have to change pronto. Like this is, all these things they're tidying up with all the diagnoses and everything. It's all happening so that the people that haven't got the diagnoses can start looking at their reality from a different perspective, and start asking questions about how someone's feeling instead of telling them to go and do something. And some of these systems are needing a lot of them to be there now to actually get them to pay attention. They're not a minority anymore. They're the majority. And so those old structures are going to have to change how they educate people, because if you keep trying to do something the same way and expect a different result, what is that? Insanity? Yeah. So, and they're still externally blaming. They're trying to blame all sorts of things for this phenomenon instead of actually looking at what is it trying to teach you, which is the Reiki stuff, right? It's not happening because we need to go and blame an injection or that somebody didn't treat them well when they were 3. It's this is happening now. What do I have to do now differently that's going to get a different result in the next 5 minutes?
Because that's all you can do.
That's the only thing that's real.
That's it.
Everything else is just a memory
Perception.
of a perception of the information that you were able to retain at the time.
So there was an insight into some of the discussions that happened during our meditation group here on the Sunshine Coast.
If 10 people can witness a murder,
this was a insightful discussion, and thank you for everyone who was willing to share
so
this.
I don't know why we keep fighting.
I feel that there's a lot of information here that might be helpful to you as the listener. And I'd love to hear about your thoughts and perceptions about what you heard during this podcast that maybe landed for you or that you disagree with.
What an interesting
I welcome feedback, because that is how we learn. But thank you to all the attendees. As always, I look forward to the next episode, and I hope you have a wonderful week. If you enjoy this podcast, remember to like and subscribe and share it with someone that you think would benefit from this. Follow us on Spotify and all the podcasting apps that you may listen to your favorite podcasts through. The more we share these podcasts, the further the messages of the stories of awakening are spread. It's happening all over the world now. People are awakening, and it's an exciting time to be alive. The content found within these podcasts are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease. Nothing on this website is intended to diagnose, treat, or cure any physical or medical conditions. If you have any physical or medical conditions, you should seek the advice of your medical professional immediately. These podcasts have a meditative effect, so please never drive a vehicle while listening to Guided Meditation Podcast.